You'd think leftists would love Elon Musk. They always bang on about the environment, and he's brought electric cars into the mainstream. Many leftists live in California, and he's trying to solve their traffic problems. He's an immigrant to America, and God knows they love those. But they don't love him. In fact, they really seem to hate him. Why is this? I mean, you have the closet communists who hate everybody rich with misplaced jealousy, those who can't stand anybody criticising their politics or preferred politician, or the ones who simply hate white people. Either way, it's very easy to find yourself on this unstable mob of simpletons' bad side. So much so, the people that pander exclusively to them often find themselves falling victim to the Church of Woke. Unable to properly decipher the Da Vinci Code of their personal politics, they're chased out by the tolerant and loving leftist mob. But this isn't the run-of-the-mill hatred from the lefties, which they usually dish out like candy on Halloween. This is a higher tier that they reserve for people like Donald Trump. If you listen to them, you'll hear all kinds of accusations against him, accusing him of every ism and phobe they've managed to invent. Some say it's because he wants to bring Trump back to Twitter, and lest we forget, Orange Man bad. So, as you can imagine, they're absolutely devastated about it. You know, because their personal lives are so rich and interesting. And of course, he's a free speech absolutist, which is somehow now a bad thing. I wonder if we could make a deal with China. We send them our leftists who live under a communist utopia, and Taiwan becomes the 51st state of America. Now that would be an interesting situation. Anyway, the whole no good reason to hate Elon Musk thing has not stopped leftist activists masquerading as journalists from writing hit pieces on him, calling him a racist in what is ironically a very racist way, in my view anyway. You see, simply because Elon Musk was born in South Africa, and at that time South Africa had some pretty sketchy politics, Elon Musk is by association a racist who supports, and apparently misses, apartheid. Does this not seem racist to you? Making broad brush assumptions about people based on the country they were born in? If you did that about Afghan refugees, the media would flay you living. Well, they're from Afghanistan, so they must sympathise with the terrorists, given it's controlled by terrorists. And it doesn't seem like anybody's calling them out on this. I mean, Elon Musk is technically an African American, and they usually all fall over themselves to pander to that group. But not poor Elon. Nobody's favourite journalist, Joy Reid, and an article on nobody's favourite newspaper, the New York Times, penned by two hacks called John Elegon and Lindsay Chuttle, both allude to this connection about how he must be a racist because the country in which he was born had racist policies in place at the time. Elon's mother actually came out to slam the newspaper for the outrageous and baseless accusation. Apartheid had been going since 1948, and Musk was born in 1971. By the time he was old enough to really understand what was going on, it was almost over, which means his memories of it would be of anti-apartheid sentiment and activists like Nelson Mandela, convincing the nation it was time to come together and move on, which they did. And if that wasn't enough, he left South Africa for America to attend university and never looked back. He's even described his time there as traumatic and unfulfilling, so the idea that he's nostalgic for the apartheid old days and wants to recreate it on Twitter is just completely baseless shit-slinging from activists. And it's absolutely clear they did no research on the matter before trying to smear him. If I were him, I would consider suing them for defamation, although damages might be hard to prove. They're just panicking because they don't want their left-wing stranglehold over Twitter to be challenged. Imagine being this worked up because Twitter might unban Trump. Can you imagine what it must be like inside their heads? They're so concerned about this being some kind of Republican conspiracy. He voted for Obama twice. This isn't a right-wing guy by any stretch of the imagination, though he says now he doesn't feel represented by the Democrats anymore. And frankly, who can blame him? Unless you spent 25 hours a day on Twitter and graduated from the Tumblr University and have at least 3 self-diagnosed mental health disorders, the modern Democratic Party isn't for you. It really is just stunning to watch all of these hacks complain about how he's going to bring a right-wing bias to the website, and how the town square of the internet should be unbiased, while willfully ignoring the massive, huge left-wing bias and the blatant censorship it's had for years. Either way, I'm glad Elon has bought Twitter, and I look forward to one day, maybe, getting my account back. Although time away from Twitter has been wonderfully refreshing, and I would recommend it to anyone. And as always, thank you for your time.